Hello, everyone.
Hi, beautiful souls. How are you all doing? Such a juicy discussion today. From our couch to yours. All Lightworkers are invited to this transmission. Say hi, tell us where you're logging in from, what country. Maybe face this way. So today we're going to talk about, we're just going to wait for a few people to come in. Instagram is coming in. Facebook and YouTube are also starting to flow in. Today we're going to talk, hi Merlin, hi Tanja. Today we have such a juicy topic, you guys. It is something that our guides have been channeling through us for the past few weeks. And literally this is a result of all the timeline viewing we have done of the Lightworker Collective, and every single one of you needs to hear this message. We feel so much love right now in our hearts. Our hearts are feeling so expanded. Amazing. Some people say they're so excited.
Someone said all good here in California, and honestly, our hearts were going out to residents of California. As if you may not be aware, there's a huge hurricane taking place. Is it? Oh, sorry. Yeah, that was Florida.
Florida.
Okay. But since it came up, there's a huge hurricane happening right now, I believe, in Florida.
It's crazy, and you guys.
The worst, record-breaking hurricane since this last 70 years or so. It's extreme. The governor has declared a state of emergency, and as far as we know that they've made an announcement to evacuate a certain area completely.
We actually saw some footage on TikTok or something, and it's bad. In fact, they said that they haven't had such a bad hurricane in several years, several decades. It's really bad, and yeah.
We were just discussing how, how many Lightworkers have been disconnected from the news, and we've completely disconnected from 3D reality because we don't trust the news anymore, and we don't know what's true and what's false. But at the same time, many people are becoming numb because we cannot be in such a disconnected state from our reality that there's a huge part of the human population suffering, and we're completely oblivious to it. So all we have to do as Lightworkers is remember not to fall into the fear or not to fall into over empathy of taking other people's burdens and pains. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, we have to cultivate a sense of prayer, and our prayers are actually heard by the higher heavens. So we all have to unite with our solid prayers to bring peace and harmony on earth. And these erratic weather patterns are also a sign of how much of a massive change humanity as a consciousness is going through. The more tumultuous earth events get, they're all a result of us washing out all of our deep hidden healing that's been in humanity's subconscious mind for centuries, and Earth is healing with us. That's why there's so many erratic weather patterns. It's a reflection of our own consciousness.
So say hi if you've come in. Where are you coming in from? We've been all day today. We've been just holding Florida and the rest of the world that have been suffering in our prayers and our thoughts, sending healing energy to where it's needed most. And today we really feel like this is going to be a very deep conversation with you guys and us about the situation or the condition of the Lightworker Collective. We've been through so much in the last 10 years, specifically all of us, everyone watching. Just think about how much we've been through. In the last 4 years alone, since COVID, we've gone through major transformation, major soul lessons. We've gone through ego deaths. We've gone through all kinds of crazy things that we've gone from one extreme to, oh my God, let's watch the news, figure out what's going on, be part of religion, follow the matrix, to completely a different way of being, where we're getting repulsed by the news because we realize it's all lies. We're being repulsed by a lot of the stuff that society and culture is shoving at us, all the brainwashing and all of that. But now we've gone into the other extreme. And hello, everybody. Liara, Sophiara, Tamara, Starla. It's so good to see you guys, soul family. This really is a soul family chat. Sophia, did you see how much my face just lit up seeing your energy? That's what your energy did to me, girl.
Your energy is glowing anyway.
I'm feeling really good, guys. And so Saman and I, in the last, you guys know our story. 10 years ago, 11 years ago, in 2013, we met. Shortly after my father passed away. My father passed away in 2012, stage 4 cancer. And as I watched his lifeless body lie on the floor, I had my spiritual awakening. I was like, holy shit, I'm so in the depths of the clutches of Islam. I'm so like worshipping my in-laws, and they're constantly mocking me and making fun of me and ridiculing me and calling me fat and trying to keep me in their box. And I didn't know any of this. When I saw my father's dead body, literally everything just shifted. It's like he left, his soul left, and he used to always like support my ex-husband and talk good about him and like make me look like the smaller one. And as soon as his soul left, it was like, what have I done to my daughter? All the clarity he felt was like fed to me in a matter of seconds in a download, and that led to my spiritual awakening. I was still married to my husband of 20 years, deeply in religion. I had a 14-year-old son. And then 2 months after my father passed away, I met Siman. Siman and I were both kind of asleep. I was fully asleep. He was semi-asleep. He was also married. Something happened in 2013. In 2012, many of you know this, where Earth literally went through a part of our, photon belt into what we call the photon belt, a very unique part of the galaxy, which has a 2,000 period of transformation.
2,000 year period.
It's a 2,000 year period of transformation, mega transformation. And this is what we want to remind all of you today. This is a very important message that all light workers need to hear. So this is something we urge you to send anyone who is on their awakening path. What we are noticing is that since 2012, a lot has happened on the planet. And what has happened is really caused by the extreme intensity in the solar flares coming to planet Earth. As you guys know, we've just been through a major solar flare. And what happens every single time these solar flares come in is that they come in as individual light packets, even though it's a collective energy coming down from the great central sun. They come in as individual light packets that are absorbed into each of our cells. And right now, what is happening in the Lightworker Collective, and this is what we're going to dissect today. So for those of you who are really into self-transformation, for those of you who are really into ascension, those of you who are all about your soul's curriculum of what do I need to do next to ascend to the next level, this video is for you. So what has happened right now is all of these light packets that are coming down are bouncing off light workers. They are, instead of being absorbed, instead of being processed, these light packets are coming in to cause radical transformation in us. Why? Because now the Earth is in the photon belt. We're getting into the age of Aquarius. We're getting into the age of enlightenment, the golden age. And right now we can only get into these ages if we up-level our act, if we really understand that we are souls, we've come here, we're having a human experience, we have so much curriculum to cover, and most importantly, we need to get out of what we call this 4D maze, or the 4D trap that we're going to get into in order to ascend, in order to evolve, in order to transform past our ego and move into the higher realms. So the reason that these light pockets are getting stuck in the human beings, like in light workers, is instead what's happening right now is that these light packets, instead of being absorbed and assimilated into our body and being processed by us, what's happening is that these are bouncing off of us. And that is where we want to start this transmission. We are wanting to start this transmission as so our intention with this transmission is to really teach you guys, give you guys the perspective of all the traps that are literally in this stage of our evolution as souls. I can see many of you ascension students like, yes, this is exactly the curriculum we need.
These are
right
the secrets.
now.
These are the secrets we're going to be sharing in this video. The secrets we're going to be sharing with you guys over the next hour or so are our life's experience. Literally, they're not stuff we read somewhere in theory. These are literally life situations and events that we've picked apart. And the way Eldora and I navigate through Earth, I haven't seen any other ascension student as adept as us. We pick every situation apart, and we take the highest level of self-responsibility in every situation, and we learn the lessons. We distill the lessons from life, and that is the secret for our ascending forward very quickly. And we are master teachers of the ego. Why is that? Because we are master students of the ego. We've been taught directly by the masters over the last decade on the intricacies of the ego. And that's what is being shown to us, is that humanity hasn't even begun to learn the ABCs of what it means to tread in the realm of the ego, let alone master it.
Yes.
So if we don't share these teachings with you guys, literally there's a huge gap in humanity's curriculum, and there is a huge gap right now we're feeling, where the most kind-hearted, the most loving souls, the most well-intentioned people, they start on their spiritual path, but then they hit a glass ceiling, and we're seeing this in our experience over and over and over. The nicest people, the most well-deserving people, the most well-meaning people, the most kind-hearted people, they just hit this block, and they cannot even navigate any further because they don't even know that there is something within their ego that needs to be addressed and changed. And that's what we want to really bring to the forefront here.
So we're going to go deep. So block off the next hour or so for this chat. And before we even start, I want to let you guys know that, drum roll, Metatronic Healers Academy. As you guys know, we launched a brand new healing modality that has been channeled through Siman and me in the last 10 years since we met. Literally, our spiritual awakening just blew up. We started having visitations from angels. For the first time, we went from being normal, everyday people to what is this life that we're leading. We were guided that we would be way showers. We were guided that we carry the DNA, the blueprints of New Earth in our DNA. So very early, the guide said, you guys are blueprint keepers of New Earth. And we're like, us, what? We had no idea about, that we were about to go on this extremely exciting journey. And right now, here we are as Ascension Master Teachers, Galactic Shamans. Every single one of you have these abilities. You just have to activate it within yourself like we have activated within us. So first of all, Metatronic Healers Academy is a healing modality
it's the most advanced and cutting edge healing, quantum healing modality on earth.
Yes.
If I had to do justice to the description, that's how I would say it.
So we are so happy.
Directly channeled from Archangel Metatron to us. And we feel blessed to be stewards of this knowledge on planet Earth. We literally feel like, did we win the lottery?
That's really how I feel.
That's what we feel like. Like me?
Yes.
Metatron chose me to deliver this message.
I know.
Every time I get a download from Metatron, I feel like I have to take a moment and remember who we are, and embody more of who we are to realize the enormity of the mission we've been given. That's how I honestly feel when I talk about Metatronic quantum healing.
And guys, here's the thing. We had such a beautiful response. When we launched, we just made a few stories saying, oh, we're about to launch Metatronic Healers Academy. We have about 45 spots left. They were sold out before the launch. Just absorb that. Before our website even went up last week for January 2025, all spots have been filled up, which is huge. And so now our website's gone up saying we're sold out for 2025 January classes, but we're now taking registrations for 2026. And for the first 5 people who register, and I believe there's still 2 spots left, you get $555 off, and you get our self-healing with crystals masterclass, where we teach you. It's a great, segue. It's a great first step to go into Metatronic Healers Academy, just if you don't want to wait till January, where we teach you how to heal yourself with crystals. So you guys can go check it out at www.nems.love/Healers Academy.
And the link is also in the YouTube and Facebook description.
Okay. All right. So now we have everybody in the house.
Quick additional announcement that we were guided to open up a few spots for one-on-one healing in order to catch up to what kind of issues humanity is currently facing.
Before Metatronic Academy.
Yeah, exactly. In order to launch Metatronic Healers Academy, our guide suggested it might be a good idea to take a few one-on-one healings.
And they were sold out in 7 minutes. All spots gone.
We opened up a calendar for October and November, and within 7 minutes, our spots were gone.
So guys, this is showing us the momentum of the Lightworker
and the
collective.
Potential.
And the potential for all of you as Metatronic quantum healers. There is such a gap in Earth doesn't have enough master healers. And our intention is to not just give you a healing certification.
Oh my goodness.
We train the masters.
When you guys graduate from Metatronic Healers Academy, and level 1 is just the beginning. We're going to take it to level 3, and we're going to take it to after 3 levels of Metatronic Healers Academy. Each level is going to be an 8-week journey with us in a container, where you get supercharged activations, healings, teachings, downloads. And our mission is to train the next generation of Lightworker Jedis. And by Jedis, we mean master healers. Like, you guys are going to be making moves on Earth. You guys are going to be creating timelines on Earth. And you guys are going to be awakening an entire generation of next generation Lightworkers. So imagine we're all in this together as a soul family, and how huge and full of light this mission is.
Don't forget to hit the like button, you guys. That really helps our algorithm. So anytime you watch us in the first 10 minutes, they say if you hit like, it really blows up the algorithms. And I just want to add to something that Siman said. Recently, a friend of mine did a healing modality with another very, very major healing training provider. And at the end of it, she said to me, we didn't have any healing practice. We just had a WhatsApp chat. And I said, are you kidding me? You didn't actually do face-to-face healings with each other? She's like, no. That is not what Metatronic Healers Academy is all about. We're going to give you guys so much practice, and even be in rooms when you're practicing, because we're not just we don't want to create average healers.
We're not just teaching theory. We're going to ingrain it into your DNA.
In your DNA.
Like, you know these techniques from the back of your hand, and you don't have to be born psychic or clairvoyant.
Yes.
The container that we provide, even the densest of people, it may take you, we're not going to say it's going to be instant, but even the densest of people who don't have any of their psychic abilities activated will begin to see some levels of messages and guidance by the end of the course. And it takes practice to become a master.
And pretty much after level 1, you can actually be a healer offering Metatronic quantum healings to guests, to clients and to family. Level 1 is very, very in-depth. It's 8 weeks. It's held on 8 consecutive Saturdays in January of 2025. That's sold out. But we have some spots for 2026 that have opened up. So anyway, guys, for those of you who are interested,
and the most
go
exciting
and
part,
check it out. www.nems.love/Healers Academy.
And for the most exciting part, we did some calculations of what your life would look like based on a Metatronic, if you become a master level 3 Metatronic quantum healer. Once you become a Jedi and you're known in your community, you've been giving healings for a few years, you can easily make between 15 to 20K a month, easily. And I'm talking once you become a master of all 3 levels and you've been practicing and you have your community, you can easily create an income of 15 to 20K a month, working 4 days a week. Okay?
And that's the basic.
Imagine the kind of freedom you'll have, and that may be your starting point.
While you are serving humanity, while you're directly helping with the ascension of humanity, while you're channeling all that love and purity and brains and leadership into something that is directly aligned to the ascension, and that's what Lightworkers are. All right, guys, so let's get started. For those of you who came, I'm just going to give you a quick recap of what we're talking about today. So Siman and I are ascension teachers. We are ascension master teachers, and the highest, like our soul mission on the planet right now is to be the way showers to New Earth, is to embody the principles, the ways, the joy frequency, the 5th dimensional joy codes, bliss codes, majority of the time, work with our higher spiritual apparatus like our Merkabahs, our Ka light circuitry, etc. We are both from the future, like many of you, who've come back in time and inserted ourselves in this time-space reality on planet Earth to create moves as the master teachers that we are, as the master blueprint holders that we are. When we look right now at the Lightworker Collective, we're seeing some major red flags, and that is what we want to really, really connect with you about, because many of you are going to have breakthroughs. We are talking to every single one of you, and today, before I even start, I want to set the preface that we are talking to you as the family of light. You know how on earth there's Muslims, there's Hindus, there's Christians, there's Jews, there's blacks, there's whites, there's all kinds of divisions. Whether you took the jab, you didn't take it, like there's so many divisions. Right now we're speaking to you as family of the light, the children of the sun, the children of the law of one. Siman and I are representatives of the law of one. We are ambassadors of the law of one, and we've been teaching law of one teachings in the Egypt timelines. We've been teaching in Atlantis, and this is back here. We are back on earth teaching this. So tell them the gap that we're seeing. So when we look at the Lightworker Collective right now, we are seeing that many Lightworkers have made it to where they are right now. They have activated some of their leadership. Some of you are, you're making good money. Some of you are in good relationships. Some of you have opened your heart. There's like a lot of progress going on. But what we see again and again is that Lightworkers have reached somewhat of a glass ceiling, and they're unable to get past the 4th density ceiling because they don't have the ego teachings that are required for this very delicate level. So as you are ascending, you are moving into higher consciousness, and right now what I'm trying to say is that you have somewhat received a cap where you're like, okay, I don't know how to navigate this part. You seem confused, you seem emotionally numb, you feel like you don't even know what you're missing. So this is right off the bat, this is what we're going to give you, and we're going to go slow and we're going to go deep. There's a million different codes we have for you. Today we're just going to go through maybe 3 or 4 or 5 codes that are needed right now, and our intention is to share more of these codes with you in the times to come. So tell them, what is the 4D maze? Siman's going to talk about it. We're all getting stuck in what we call, many of you know that we're going from the 3rd dimension to the 4th dimension, to the 5th dimension. We're moving through one part of Earth, which we call the 3rd density Earth, which is a very, chaotic part of Earth. We're moving up to the 4th density Earth, which is more like lighter. There's no trauma. We've done all our trauma healing. Life feels better. There's more abundance. There's more happiness. There's more joy. There's more
explain that part?
Celebrations. Yes. So what's happening right now, and why are people getting stuck in the 4D maze? Of course, please.
Okay. So I want to speak from layman's terms because there's many people who are new to our channel. What our narrative is, or what we've been saying over the years, and what's been our own life experience, is that Earth is going through a historic shift in consciousness. Humanity is going through a massive shift in consciousness. You're probably watching our channel and channels like these about spirituality and spiritual topics because you're going through something known as a evolution in your own consciousness and a spiritual awakening. Now, when you go through a spiritual awakening, and this event of the massive planetary worldwide spiritual awakening that's taking place is historic. It's the first time that our entire planet, entire mass of humanity, or at least majority of humanity, is together making a jump into consciousness. And this is happening because we've been in a 3rd density consciousness. And what we mean by that is that we've been ruled by the ideals of war, greed, separation, hate, mistrust, all these kind of separation consciousness, where we are not allowing ourselves to unite and work with each other through principles of love and harmony. So separation consciousness is what we term as 3D consciousness, 3rd dimensional consciousness. And that's been our history for the past 25,000 years on Earth. Now, since 2012, like Eldora mentioned, we're moving into an area of space called the photon belt. And this is by design. The universe is now decreeing, and Earth has now decided as a planet that it no longer wants to be ruled by war and greed and separation, but it wants to move forward in evolution and learn, leave back the lessons of duality and move into a higher era of unity consciousness. And unity consciousness is going to completely shift every aspect of our society. These are not spiritual theoretical topics I'm talking about. The reason we're seeing so many massive events taking place on Earth at the same time is because entire humanity is evolving into unity consciousness very quickly. Unity consciousness simply means that we overcome our obstacles of greed and the ego and separation, and realize that despite our caste, color, creed differences, class, level of education, we realize that at our core, we are all the same being. We are all one human heart, and we are all here to evolve and co-create together with love. We are here to look after our neighbor as much as look after ourselves. We're here to ensure that people halfway across the world do not suffer in poverty and starvation, while one country is thriving in luxury and greed. So there's a lot of imbalances that are coming to the surface. But as the collective of humanity goes through healing of these imbalances of separation and greed, these lessons are also being reflected on the micro level in our individual human lives. So in our individual lives, you may be suddenly experiencing, like, you're realizing there's more to life than just earning, going to a job, marrying, and then paying taxes and dying. You're realizing that your soul is craving a lot more than your meager existence. Your soul is craving evolution. Your soul is craving freedom from all this tyranny that we feel inside, and freedom from the way this world has been really twisted and turned into like a really dark place where there's no soul growth taking place. There's no more love and compassion between neighbors, and humanity is estranged. Men and women are estranged. So we're actually feeling very sad on a collective level, and our soul is yearning to heal all of these things. But what is the secret glue that brings humanity together? We can't just say, okay, we're done with duality, let's all work together. In order to bring humanity together as one human heart, as one human family, we all have to master our own egos. And we feel, and I'm channeling the guides purely right now, we feel when we look at humanity from the higher dimensions is that humanity needs to grow up. And what we mean by that is that humanity has come to a level of consciousness where they're awakening spiritually, but they're not at a level of consciousness where they're aware of their own ego separation. So I'll give you an example. If somebody has, if you're friends with someone and suddenly that friend says something to you that doesn't resonate, or they give you some harsh feedback about you that you behave this way and it feels toxic to me. Many people don't know how to go past that difficult conversation, and they end their relationship because it feels toxic and they don't know how to deal with it in a loving way.
Let's explain that
That's
again.
the glass ceiling, if I had to summarize it. That's the level humanity is at, that everyone's canceling, everyone's hitting the ceiling where anytime a real conversation begins that is meant to create a transformation into a higher level, where we're supposed to say, you know what, thank you for this reflection, and I know there's something I need to heal. I feel there's a few things you need to heal as well, and let's not take it personally. Let's communicate in a way that is productive and beneficial for each other. Let's communicate with compassion, empathy, and love and respect for each other, and then grow out of this so we can move past our toxic behaviors and patterns of the past. That was the pattern of our grandfathers and our parents. We're here to anchor unconditional love for the next generation, and that's no easy task. Unconditional love really means doing the dirty work inside and taking responsibility, even though someone's feedback to you may feel like a spear in your heart in that moment, or an arrow. Because you know why it feels like an arrow? Because we've been criticized so much since our childhood that anytime somebody gives you a positive reflection, it becomes like an attack in your ego. So we want to dig really deep to help people understand how you can get past all of these traps of the ego.
Yes, very well explained. So we want to go slow with this. And Siman talked about the cancel culture. Why are we even reaching this ceiling called the cancel culture? What is this cancel culture really? The good news is that we're only hitting this glass ceiling because of this one fact, that when we reach a point when we are in disagreement with another, instead of looking into what healing might come up when we face this head on and say, okay, let's talk about it. Let's see why you're feeling that I'm behaving this way. Let's see why what you're saying may be true. Let's see why what you're doing is bringing up these feelings within me that are so uncomfortable. Let's see why how you're behaving is triggering my ego or bringing this discomfort within me. Instead of that, what most light workers are doing is they're saying, we're going to go through the easy path of saying, let's take the high route and let's just leave in peace. Let's just move away from this situation because we don't want to do the hard work, the icky work of figuring out why this is bringing up so much trauma and discomfort within us. So what have you got from this so far? We're going to go deeper. Anytime you feel like you don't want to deal with something, like I don't want to deal with that because it's just too painful in my heart, that is where your biggest transformation is waiting for you. Instead of, like a lot of people are saying, we're just single, we love being single and we have no soul lessons coming up. We're just happy. We're cruising through the ascension.
It's like living on an island and being happy.
But you're not cruising through the ascension. What you're doing is you're saying, I'm going to isolate myself from the planet, just live in my house and not have any interaction with the outside world, because I'd rather have my peace than face my shadows. Now, what we are seeing is coming up in the Lightworker Collective is the same patterns, because we hold events, we deal with thousands of people. We've been doing this for 10 years and we've seen the same patterns erupt. And right now we're feeling that if we don't address this, there's a big gap in the curriculum for Ascension students, and more Ascension students are falling prey to their separation consciousness,
to their own ego's beliefs,
but unconsciously. They're not, many of you might at some phase in your spiritual journey be at like an edge, like I don't know, should I leave this person or stay with this person? Is this a good friend or not a good friend? I don't know, like what do we do? And often we just choose the easy route. The easier route is to leave, saying we're just going to leave this situation, it's not good, it's just creating a lot of headache for us, we don't have the patience or the strength for it, we just want out. We want out. That's the culture. We want to cancel. The cancel culture is what we're talking about. What else do we want to talk about this? So one thing that we're seeing is coming to the surface right now to be healed. And I say this to every single one of us watching. Every single one of us watching needs this. Is to really be aware, first of all, that the ego is very, very subtle. And right now, you guys are not in the basic levels of the ego, most of you. Many of you might be, many of you may be in the advanced levels of the ego. And I can say there's no such thing as advanced level. Every layer is as basic and as advanced as the next layer. And Siman and I in the last...
And the higher you go in your ego training, the more subtle and tricky the lessons get.
Correct.
That's the trick.
And there's not enough people...
You can never relax with the ego.
Never. And there's not enough people on the planet that are able to decode this, because this is fifth dimensional information. Earth is not a fifth dimensional planet. This is information from the fourth density ascended planet Earth, which most human beings do not embody.
And we've downloaded these teachings from higher dimensional beings who've already evolved in their consciousness, and they're sharing their wisdom from millions of years of evolution. So by following these principles, you will be able to jump time travel forward in consciousness through millions of years, literally.
So let's just lay this out in no specific order in some points. Number one, what do light workers need to be aware of? And this is something that you can watch every 6 months, because it's going to give you aha moments. Like we're giving you pearls, we're giving you Christed pearls that you may need to come back to 3 months from now, 4 months from now, because every time you watch it, you're going to unveil a new level in your consciousness. Based on your consciousness, you're going to peel off one layer of what we're talking about. So come back to this video, make it a reference video. So one of the things we're seeing is that when light workers have, this is just off the top of my head, let's talk about the first one. When light workers have any kind of insecurity inside themselves, they feel good when they are part of a spiritual community. They feel good when they have spiritual friends. They feel good when they're like close to the spiritual teacher, whatever the case may be, or your colleague. Like let's say you're working and you're really in good ties with the boss. That becomes your ego. That becomes your identity. That becomes your personality. Like I am in really good books with the boss. I am an A-grade student of the teacher. Now this is happening in light workers, where people are getting so used to being the front showrunners and being always like the teacher's pets or the best students in that group or whatever the case may be. And the minute that very core is challenged, when they're not given any attention because maybe they have a lot of heaviness or they have more trauma or they have more lessons to learn, whatever the case may be, maybe they're so in their head that they're not able to, whatever the reason, the minute the spiritual teacher or the teacher, like whoever, their spiritual people stop giving them that front seat access, their ego, their demons start getting rattled. Is there a better way to say that?
No, you can explain.
Are you guys following me? So what happens is, in order to understand the ego, you have to have a very broad perspective of why is this happening to me? It's easy to say she's bad or he's bad, or it's easy to what we're seeing right now is light workers are pointing blame like that because they don't have the consciousness to comprehend what within them needs to change. So very often you have to ask yourself, is it my insecurity that is wanting me to be successful? I repeat, guys, this is so deep. Is it my insecurity that is wanting to be successful, that is wanting to be in the teacher's eye? And the minute I feel like somebody is not in resonance with me, all my shit comes up. And then I feel like that teacher is not a good teacher. Why? It's easier to blame the teacher than realize, oh my God, I have all this insecurity to clean up. I perhaps have to look into my authenticity. I have to look at why I need other people to validate me all the time. I have to look into where I am in ungratitude, which is why probably this spiritual group is vibrating higher than me. I repeat, many times you'll go into a spiritual community and you'll be like the A student, okay? This is happening. This is actually happening. You'll be the A student. You'll be moving, you'll be going to all the events, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden you'll reach a cap. Why? You'll reach a cap, and there'll be other students who've passed that level because they're in their heart, they're in gratitude. So you'll reach a cap saying, shit, I don't know what it is, but this teacher used to like me. This group used to feel good to me. It doesn't feel good to me anymore. Why? Shit, no one's looking at me. No one's giving me the time of day. Do you guys see the difference? Do you guys see what I'm talking about? And I say this with all my love because all of us have been there. Nobody is above this. So what happens is instantly there is a separation created between the spiritual teacher or the spiritual community and yourself. And I'll give you a very simple example. Recently we were talking to someone, and you know what she said to us? She said, oh my God, it's really nice to see how nonchalant kind of spiritual teachers you are. She says, because I had almost given up on spirituality because I do not resonate with any spiritual circle. And I said, girl, us too. We're the same. We don't resonate with a lot of spiritual circles. Why? They are full of shit. They are full of shit. They will expect you to eat vegan food to be accepted. They will expect you to live by their box. Like if you say fuck, you're not spiritual. If you drink alcohol, you're not spiritual. If you smoke weed, you're not spiritual. If you don't smoke weed, you're not spiritual. If you don't have dreads, you're not spiritual. There's like a whole playbook, and none of this is true. To be spiritual is to be free. And so in our presence, this girl feels so free that she's like, oh my God, there is so much freedom being around you. I didn't think spiritual would be this easy. So what's happening right now is people are not evolving because they are reaching a million different blocks like this. One block is their insecurity that they're not able to deal with, that they project on the teacher, and then they separate because it's easier to separate than look like someone who's not getting any energy from the teacher. What else? They're also saying, oh, I'm done with all these spiritual, communities. I'm just happy being in my little bubble. I don't want to be a part of these communities because I don't get spirituality. There's many different. I'll give you another major one that's going to blow your minds. This came in very, very strong. There is another trap that many of you are falling into right now. And I think you guys are going to have a breakthrough, every single one of you, when I say this. It is the trap of disrespecting the masculines in your life on the pretext that you are a divine feminine rising. Absorb that for a moment. There is an ego trap in this 4D maze that you are trying to basically go out of. You're in this maze. In the ascension, you're like in a tunnel where you have to get through this maze to go to the other side. And another trap is that many of you are disrespecting the masculine. You are outright disrespecting the masculine because of your own wounds with the masculine, because your father was rude to you, because your father disempowered you, because your brother disempowered you, your son doesn't respect you, all the masculines in your life have disappointed you. And right now, you guys, what I'm seeing in the Lightworker collective, and this is like a huge red flag, is that all the women on the planet, I'm talking in a consciousness wise, like the majority of the women consciousness, everybody, I'm talking about everybody, have this subtle repulsion or this subtle vengeance or this animosity towards the masculine. And they don't realize that they're never going to rise as divine feminine. They think, oh, we're powerful, we're rising as our divine feminines. But you're not rising as your divine feminines. You know what you're doing? You're rising as a toxic feminine with your stiletto heel placed on the crutch of the masculine. That's the image I'm being shown. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? All of us are guilty of this. We look at the masculine as weak, unintelligent. I love men. I have no issue with men, ever. I'm actually the one who feels I can never be mean to men. Women have been mean to me. Like, I don't have an issue with men, and I can tell you all women are subconsciously vibrating this. Why is this a trap? Because you're embodying disrespect. How can you ever channel your higher self if you embody outright disrespect towards men? You are treating your husbands like this. You're treating them lesser than. You are treating anyone who's masculine like, oh my God, yes, the masculine has let us down. Let's just get over that part. Yes, the masculine has let us all down. But now let's move forward. We cannot get stuck in this energy of resenting the masculine because we're holding ourselves back. Instead, what do we need to do? We need to hold the energy for the masculine to rise. That is what the divine feminine does. The divine feminine holds the energy. We hold space. We forgive. We don't judge. So if I had to give you one code, I'm giving you $1 million code for your ascension. If I had to give you one code, and then we'll move on to the next point. The points are here if you want to see.
Yeah.
If I had to give you one code, what is that code? Anytime you see yourself judging another, whether it's a woman or a man, I'm right now just talking about the man, like the masculine, the judgments we have on the masculine. Anytime you see yourself judging the masculine, your husband, your son, your boss, whatever the case may be, stop and say, holy shit, this judgment energy that's vibrating amongst the most pure-hearted souls is what is causing you to stagnate, because when you're in judgment, your higher self will not flow through you. You won't channel your creativity. You won't channel your higher intuition. You're stuck in a lower timeline. And every single person has this. Like I see this in the field of everyone. Like, he's my boyfriend and he's just sucking my, he just is good to suck ass, but that's about all he can do. We're like rising in the divine feminine. No, we're not. So that's another trap. What is another trap?
So just to wrap up that point Eldora just mentioned, the collective feminine anger and pent-up frustration towards the masculine is a huge one that is completely creating a divide between men and women. That's just one aspect that we need to heal.
Yes.
In addition to that, there are many layers of the ego causing separation between all light workers themselves. And we touched upon this briefly on the topic of cancel culture, where we're finding that in our culture right now, okay, this is the download I just received, okay? While literally saying these words, I received the download. What's happening to human consciousness is that it's evolving in a way that is parallel to how our internet is evolving. Let me explain that. This is completely a download. I did not even know this before. Okay, let me explain this. You know how the way we interact has changed because of social media? If we did not have the internet and the social media, we'd still be interacting the way we did 20, 30 years ago, sitting in a room, having conversations and hashing things out. Maybe not 20, 30 years ago. Even then we had TV and all these distractions. Maybe 50 years ago when technology had less of an influence on us. Now technology is dominating our consciousness and the way we interact with each other. So instead of having face-to-face conversations, we're literally keeping up to date with each other through the Facebook feed or our Instagram feed. Oh, this person went for a picnic, this person has a new offering, this person's doing this. That's how we stay connected. Now, what's the negative aspect of what the effect that social media has had on our consciousness? The negative aspect is that as soon as you don't resonate with another person, what do? Block them.
Or exactly,
You
unfollow
block
them.
You unfollow them.
It's so easy.
That's why this cancel culture has become a worldwide phenomenon. Because it's become so easy to block people on WhatsApp. It's so easy to block people on Instagram. Simply to say, they said one thing that I don't resonate with, and now it's over. You know what? I can't trust them anymore. They said this thing that doesn't agree with me. But what is the normal pattern of evolution that we're here to follow on Earth? It's not to cancel anything that doesn't resonate with you. It is to take what resonates and discard the rest.
And go deeper as to why you're...
Look into why certain things are even triggering you in the first place. And look into why someone else's differences from the way you believe your rules of life to be, why those differences are creating a separation within you rather than a meaningful conversation that has never been allowed in your life.
Exactly.
Why are you staying in your comfort zone and saying, this doesn't agree with me, I have to stay within my rigid box, so blocking is the easiest option? Then what changed? What evolved? Nothing. And the reason I'm speaking so passionately about this is because honestly, guys, it's time for humanity to grow up and have the meaningful, deeper, difficult conversations with each other about why certain differences are unacceptable to you. That's what going into unity consciousness is all about. And the conclusion I came to was this: the reason meaningful and difficult conversations that challenge your ego, that challenge your existing belief systems, the reason these conversations are avoided is because we as children have been taught to always be nice, to always be good people, to always agree with other people, to never challenge the status quo, never be spoken to unless you're never to speak unless you're spoken to. So your parents literally shut you and make you a mute since a young age. So we grow up believing that in order to be good people, we have to be accepted by everyone.
And we have to agree with everybody. We
Exactly.
have to never
we have
be
to
opinionated.
agree with everyone's the way things are. If we don't like it, we just have to shut up and suppress it and keep stuffing it down
because people don't have the emotional intelligence to handle your response.
Exactly.
But what if you made the response anyway
and
let relationships that are not meant to be fall off?
Exactly.
Don't hold your voice back. Make your point. Like, let's say you're having a hard time with your husband. Instead of just shoving everything under the rug and moving on, have that difficult conversation, because that's going to help you evolve past that phase that is stuck.
And we can speak from our own experience because Eldora and I had the most difficult conversations. We've healed more for humanity in terms of the relationship between men and women. We've healed some very, very huge, monstrous, mammoth kind of problems that could tear a relationship apart.
And most couples are reaching a cap at that as well.
Yes.
Most couples reach a cap. You know why? Men don't know how to hold space. So in a divine sacred relationship, it's all about holding space for each other. When I'm down, Saman's holding space for me so I can really work through my traumas and come up. When he's down, I've been holding space for him so he can really work through his traumas and come up. We're now at the phase where there's nothing major that comes up. We're now at a phase where everything seems really smooth. The water seems smooth. We finally put our heads out of the murkiness and say, after all that hard work we did, now there's no fights, there's no triggers. Now there's another thing I want to touch on. This is another area where light workers are falling prey to not advancing in their spirituality. And this is because light workers, especially light workers, for some reason, the minute the awakening happens and you become a light worker, what happens? Judgments start, expectations start. Judgments and expectations are really messing people up. And I'll give you, it can be the most simple thing in the world. Let's say there is a dance program in your community and you're like, I want to go to this dance. It looks nice, but I don't know about the energy there. I don't know about the people who come there. There's nothing wrong with the place. It's just your judgments. What if it's just your judgments that someone looks like a hippie, or someone in that circle does something or says something or wears something or shows cleavage, or I don't know, something that upsets you? Because there's a million things that can piss you off based on your conditioning. Many of you are falling prey to these judgments and expectations of what something should be like. So let's say we launch a retreat for $5,000. Half of you may say, wow, $5,000 for a retreat with Eldora and Siman, like this is worth $20,000. Like, let's put up our money right away. The other half of you may say, $5,000? Who do they think they are? We should have it for free. If they are light workers, they should just give us everything for free because they're just doing the...
You know, I read a very funny comment when we announced the Healers Academy was sold out and it's a high ticket offer. And somebody wrote in the comments, this is such a pagan practice to charge money for your service. Real shamans and healers give healings for free. I'm like, well, you also don't get paid for anything, and you also block out your abundance, and you also work against the universal laws of attraction, but that's just a whole another story.
And I would not want to see a shaman who's free.
So people's beliefs are so strong, ingrained, so this poverty consciousness or judgment of values like body image or like Eldora mentioned, someone showing their cleavage, other people dressing a certain way or speaking a certain way or swearing or any of these differences. There's so many ingrained beliefs that this is how you should behave, this is how you should look, and we are not realizing that this is very kindergarten behavior. This is the very definition of separation consciousness. We're being trained right now to become a galactic society. And do you even realize what it means to become a galactic society? It really means that we have to stop judging each other, because we're going to be introduced to alien civilizations that are so far beyond our comprehension that if we continue to look at our reality through the eyes of judgment, we won't even be able to cope or survive in the galactic culture, where we're introduced to foreign concepts or our challenges are idealed. Right now, we're literally being asked to expand our horizons of what we believe is right and wrong, and really go into a higher level of consciousness with the viewpoint of being a student and saying, maybe I don't have all the answers. Maybe I'm here to learn something that challenges me and grow out of it.
So you know what we're being asked to do, you guys? We're being asked to mature. We are being asked to grow up. Sophia Raj just said baby souls. We just taught a whole class in our NEMS, our New Earth Mystery School, a few weeks ago, the Spiritual Body Masterclass. It was called The Journey of the Soul Back to Source. And we literally talked about soul ages. And people were having epiphanies. And somebody even said to us, they said, Eldora and Saman, you give us all these activations, you give us all these teachings, you give us all this love, you give us everything. But you know what? You give us all these teachings. But she says, what I love the most is when you simply remind us of who we are, how powerful we are, and how we are simply God having a human experience, and how expansive that feels. So right now, all of us, gods in different fractals, like we're all just gods playing our part, we're getting stuck. We're literally getting stuck in this maze. Now there's something huge I want to talk about. So let me wrap up that teaching. So when you're, let's say, going to an event and you have a trauma that I won't go alone, that becomes your block. What if your soul requires you to go to an event alone and you're going to have the time of your life? You're going to meet the love of your life. What if your judgment, expectation, trauma, comfort zone, that's becoming your biggest block to your highest goals? So I want you to really be aware of these things. It's not that there's something wrong with the dance or something wrong with the retreat or there's something wrong with the spiritual teacher, because your ego will make everybody else look like the problem. Oh, they're charging too much, they're not nice, they swear, whatever the case may be. But instead you have to look within and saying, holy shit, everybody's jumping. Everybody's wanting to move fast. My soul wants to move faster than I am. I'm stagnating. Let me do something about it. Now there's something very, very deep I want to talk to you about. What light workers, there's two things. I'm going to get the baby teaching out first and then dive into the more powerful one. So the baby teaching, the baby code, it's not a baby code, guys. This is happening. This is happening in the Lightworker Collective. People are literally following the herd mentality because they don't have the consciousness, the intelligence, and the discerning skills to know what's right and what's wrong. What do I mean by that? Let's say one person, one light worker, she's part of some group. Let's say one light worker has a falling off. She's like, for whatever reason, she's like, I don't like these teachers anymore. I was going really fast, but right now, for some reason, I'm not feeling these teachers. They're not suiting my ego anymore. This is the energy we're seeing. But they don't know that. They're going into victimhood. Like, they said something that hurt my feeling and they're so mean. And how could they do this to me? Whatever the case may be. Or they may go into something that says, you know what? I was going really, really well with this spiritual group. I was ascending really fast. But I saw one hole in the story. Why? Not because there is an actual hole, but because I don't have the apparatus to even compute a higher consciousness. That may just be me not understanding what they're talking about, but I'm judging it as something low. What's happening is deadly. Let's say there's this one person who has doubt and she cannot figure out what's right, what's wrong. Instead of just saying, I'm going to take 2 months, I have been with these teachers, I've been with these communities, I understand that I'm moving ahead. Let me just take a step back for 2 months, allow things to settle down, and then see where I am. But what they're doing instead is they're calling all the other light workers from the same groups and saying, let's talk about it, guys. you need to understand there's a major problem. I'm not feeling them anymore, and here's why you need to leave too. Now, instead of these guys training this person who is affected, they are all getting infected. This is a very big problem that is in the Lightworker community, and this is something that will constantly keep happening. No matter what community you join, when one person is upset, their goal becomes to save everyone else. Their goal becomes to save everyone else. But what they don't realize they're doing is they're not saving anyone. They are literally projecting their lack of understanding of what's going on. They can't compute where they are in their ego. They are in their ungratitude. They are in their expectation. They are in their judgment. They are in their lack of comprehension of a higher spiritual perspective. So what they do is they go into the ego story and they drag people in. They channel their hate, their disappointment, and they drag. And people are falling for it, as shocking as it is. Who are the people who fall for it? People who resonate with some part of the same wound as this person. People who resonate have something in common with this person. So let's say one person is trying to pull all of you down. Nobody is at fault, not this person, not any of you. But what's happening is this person's getting you all down. Why? Because you have some fear, you have some doubt, you have some judgment that is vibrating at the same frequency as this person. So something makes sense. And at this point, what I recommend you do is you don't make any decision. You just say, I'm just going to take a step back and just watch for 6 months if I have to, because I'm not going to cost my ascension because my ego has taken me off on a wrong story. Now, when you guys do this, you'll realize that you always have an option to come back, to go back and get back on your mothership of ascension.
Exactly, because when people leave our vortex, even temporarily or permanently, we always project unconditional love, forgiveness, and judgment. And we hold space for anyone to come back. Our ascension, our mystery school is like an open door. You can drink from this wisdom and love infinitely because it is connected to the Christed consciousness of source. It is connected to the infinite flow of love from the great central sun. So we have no shortage of love to share, but you have one chance at your ascension. So you have to go deep within to see whether you're avoiding any soul lessons or not. And what Eldora just mentioned about this group herd mentality, where people join a spiritual vortex and then if they don't resonate with something or they get hurt by something unconsciously, they just create an ego story about it. But now that they are hurt and they've created an ego story, their ego has to make the other person wrong. Okay, this is poisonous. When this can happen in a spiritual container between a ascension student or a teacher, or it can happen between best friends, or it can happen between you and your family or your parents or your child.
Let us know in the comments, are you guys resonating with everything?
Yeah, let us know how this is ringing.
Is it landing? How is it? Is it feeling like, what are they talking about?
A lot of people are resonating.
I can see that. How is this landing, you guys? Give us some energy in the chat. Even Instagram, let us know. Is this what you're going through? Like, do you see what we're talking about? Yes, unconditional love, exactly. So let us know. We all need to take accountability.
Right. So what happens is, as soon as your ego gets hurt by someone, your ego feels the need to create a story around that hurt, that the other person is evil, the other person is wrong, and you rush to prove the other person is evil, and you rush to prove that the other person is such a monster that I must alert all my friends and take them with me because now I'm the shepherd. Now I've become the shepherd and my mission is to save these people from these evil people. See how much damage your ego is doing? Because, well, first of all, the herd mentality has to go. We're all here as sovereign beings. So if you're being pulled into somebody else's poison, that's on you, that you're not self-aware enough to make your own decisions. If you're getting pulled into someone else's negativity and leaving a relationship because something happened to someone else, that's honestly,
even worse.
That's very weak behavior.
Very. And many people are saying they resonate. You have to make your own decisions.
You have to say, you know what, I'm sure this happened to you, but in my experience, my relationship with this person is fine, so I'll make up my own mind. If that means our friendship has to break up, then you're completely off, because nothing even happened between us. I don't have to follow you to be your friend. So we are all we're trying to create a pyramid where we're saying, I am the top of the pyramid, I'm leaving, so I'm taking all my friends with me. Whoever's not going is on the other side. Guys, this is the definition of separation consciousness. You're doing it and not even seeing it in yourself. So accept our unconditional love, and remember, our doors are always open for you. But on the second level, when you're poisoning other people and creating ego stories that you're hurt and the other person's evil, or there must be a monster to do this to you, then you're going deeper and you're going into darkness, and you're taking yourself into a level where you're going to exclude yourself from future positive timelines of ascension or teachings and opportunities to learn. You're going to take other people with you. But what's going to happen after a few years? Because you haven't mastered those ego lessons, because you have robbed yourself of those learning opportunities that your soul came here on earth to graduate from, if you avoid them, what happens? Soul lessons return after a few years more severely.
You can't escape
them. And we're seeing this in Lightworker communities. We're literally seeing our ascension compared to others, and people who we were at the same level with in terms of level of consciousness, people who were higher in consciousness than us, now seem lower than our students, because they're literally regurgitating the same soul lessons over and over and over, like a washing machine, but they're not moving forward. More like a treadmill. They're not moving forward. They're just repeating, staying stuck in separation. And guys, this is not what we came here for. We came here to live our highest life, our highest potential, unlock our highest abundance, and create the life of our dreams. We cannot do that with separation
and many people are commenting saying humans are behaving like babies. Fuck yes. Siman and I have gone through this for the last 2 weeks. We're like, why is everyone behaving like a baby? These guys are real masters. We see the masters in so many people, and they're behaving like kindergarten students, because for some reason they're allowing themselves to be pulled into other people's negativity. This happens time and time again. So if someone is not okay with you using your own brains and having your own discernment, or like trying to convince you to do something, this is very, very, very dangerous territory. And I say this with so much love, because guys, right now we're only here to do one freaking thing. We are all here, we're light workers. We have come from the stars, for lack of a better explanation. We're not going to go deep into that. We're not from earth. We've come from the stars to hold this higher consciousness, this higher elevated DNA that we have in us, this higher level of purity, to say, hey, we can help bridge the gap between all the separation on the planet. Instead, what we're doing is we're adding more to it. Now, I'm going to give you the deadliest trap of all. The deadliest trap of all. When I was in our recent Glastonbury 888 event, at the opening circle, all of a sudden my guide started channeling this teaching through me. I was like, guys, I literally said to the circle, I said, guys, everybody left, like there were half the people had left, and we were just half of us sitting till late night, till midnight, or whatever, 10:30 or whatever PM. And I started channeling this teaching. And everybody, the people who were there, they were like, it felt like I was channeling the consciousness. And you know what that is? This is the deadliest trap of the ego. What people are doing is because they cannot trust themselves, because they don't know who they are, because they don't trust themselves.
They don't have an inner compass.
They don't have their inner compass. What they are doing, and we're seeing this in the spiritual community, they are giving away their power to their spiritual teachers. Let me explain. They are saying, you know what, we're not sure of what is right, what is wrong. We're not sure. Earth energies are getting very intense. The solar flares are getting crazy intense. And we're not able to process. And before I get into the code, I'm going to give you another code. Why are many of you unable to process these intense lessons coming in from the sun? I'll tell you why. So the Great Central Sun is giving you all these ascension codes. They're supposed to merge with your DNA, merge with your chakras, merge with your lessons in life, merge with all your interactions with life. And they're supposed to give you healing and a higher consciousness, because now you're taking these codes through your body, processing them, and being down for a little bit, yes, because your lessons come up, you have fights, you have arguments, you don't know what to do. But then you process it and you come out. You say, oh, that's why I was in my ego here. I'm creating separation here. Oh shit, okay, and I come up. But you know why these codes are not absorbing in your cells? This is why. It's because you are loaded with toxins. Many of you will have breakthroughs. It's not because you're doing something wrong. Your body is not crystalline enough. It's so dense that these light pockets are just like bouncing off of you. They're not absorbing in you. So detoxing is a very major thing. I don't know if you want to talk more about that, but I want to go into the code.
Yeah, go into the code.
Okay, now this is the code. This is the biggest trap that light workers are falling into, which I started earlier, but let me finish the thought. So what people are doing, especially light workers, is all of a sudden they have this spiritual awakening. They start doing yoga and they feel spiritual. They start realizing, oh, there's a spiritual lingo. I know how to act. I know how to dress. I know how to behave spiritual and, show that I'm spiritual. But deep inside, they don't have an inner compass. They are a wreck emotionally. They're not even in happy relationships. They literally don't have the emotional quotient.
Or they have low self-worth and are looking for approval from others.
They have low self-worth. This is deep shadow work. It's self-accountability is everything. So they have all of this. So this is the trap. What they're doing unconsciously, and this could be any of you, is they are subconsciously looking for a spiritual teacher or a savior to say, oh my God, I'm a mess inside. I don't want anyone to know that. I'm just going to follow, let's say, Eldor and Saman, for lack of a better example. Let's follow Eldor and Saman. They have a lot of respect in the community. I'm going to follow them. And as long as I follow them and I'm in their good books, I must be good. I must be smart.
This is huge.
I must be spiritual. Fine? Okay.
And people who come to our vortex like that always look for approval.
But let me go deep. So where was I? These people are like, nobody knows this. I look spiritual. I act spiritual. I do yoga. I do all the right things. But nobody knows this. I actually am a mess. Can you say that? Because I can say that. If I'm a mess, I can tell you I'm a fucking mess. How many of you can say that? I can also say I'm not a mess. I am one of the most masterful people on earth right now. And so is Saman. We underplay how masterful we are in our ego. We underplay how masterful we are in our emotional.
We underplay our wisdom because of how young we look. Honestly, our looks are deceiving you guys. And I'm saying that with a lot of humility.
We're from the future. We are octaves. Like we have all the codes and we feel like, how are we going to teach humanity these codes when humanity is still playing in such a baby level? How are we going to teach these codes? So let me get back to the trap. This is huge. So now what these people have done without knowing it, they are like, we love these spiritual teachers. We love you guys. We love you guys. But why are they showing so much love towards us? Because they want our love back. Why do they want our love back? They want us to have attention on them, give them attention. Why? Because that is the only sense of validation that works for them. They don't validate themselves. They don't love themselves. They don't even have self-respect for themselves. They're a mess. So if the teacher likes you, and if you're in the teacher's good books, you must be smart and spiritual and amazing and high vibration, right? Now, why is this a trap?
Usually these people...
Why is this a trap?
Usually these kind of people that come from insecurity and come to other spiritual containers looking for approval from their peers or their spiritual teachers, the psychological profile of such people, and I'm sharing that so you relate whether it applies to you or not, is we've been really put down during our childhood. And I'm speaking from experience. I was really, really emotionally abused during my childhood, especially by my father. And he would ingrain into my brain, ingrain into my mind 100 times a day through humiliating slurs he would make at me, like, you're dumb, you're useless, any task I give you, you either forget, you don't get it right, you're not good enough, all the shebang, right? So I've been abused with this brainwashing that I'm not good enough for at least 17 to 18 years of my life before I started going to college and had more of an individual identity. So people like us who've been abused and tortured emotionally and led to believe that we're not good enough, initially in my 20s, I walked through life with a low self-esteem. So when we go through a low self-esteem, we don't even realize we have a low self-esteem. We think that this is the way the world is. So when you're with this blind side of a low wherever you go, whether you find a girl to date or whether you go to a lecture and look at a teacher, whenever you see someone who's interacting with you, you yearn for their love, you yearn for their approval. And anytime I would receive like negative feedback from my relationship, it would pierce my heart as if my soul was being attacked. So it's actually even emotionally charged for me to talk about this because it's my trauma. But now I've healed most of it. I don't feel insecure anymore. I can stand in front of 1 million people and deliver a message with confidence because I've healed all my traumas. I've gone through the deep shadow work. So has Eldora. And it's not easy. It takes a lot of self-work. It takes a lot of courage, and it takes a lot of time and patience to heal these wounds.
So let's decode this. So let's say they're now looking at this other person to validate them. They're now looking at this other person to give them a sense of self-esteem and self-whatever. What do? They become the loudest people in the spiritual circle. Look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. I'm the loudest person in the chat. I'm the loudest person everywhere. Why?
I have all the answers.
I have all the answers. Look at me. This is the trap. Because
or I took a picture with the teacher.
Or I had a vacation with the teacher.
If they take a picture and it ends up on social media, they've won the lottery.
Oh my God, they won the lottery. Now, why is this a trap? Now, let's say all of a sudden they reach a block. And for some reason, the spiritual teacher is going higher and higher in consciousness. They're not able to keep up because they have more lessons. And all of a sudden, they start feeling left out. Like, shit, we're not getting enough attention. These teachers, we've spent all our freaking money and done all their courses. We've done all their retreats. Like, they have expectation. Like, we've done all this. And now these teachers are not giving us any attention. Isn't that expectation? Isn't that a judgment on your teachers? And most importantly, is this not your insecurity? Guys, insecurity is the biggest curriculum you have in your ego's path. The biggest. If you're mean to someone, it's because you're insecure. If you think someone else is beneath you, it's because you are insecure. If you're speaking a different way to your girlfriend or your husband and putting them down, it's because you are insecure. Think about it. It'll change your life.
I'll give you a very direct example of this. We were in our House of Ra Ascension Festival in Tulum in 2022. And this very respectable old lady came into the yoga shala during our lunch break. And that was the only time we had made it very clear, even in our opening circles, that we lay out our boundaries very verbally and we communicate very clearly that during our off time, when we're not offering a program, we'd like to not be approached and we'd like to experience our own private time so we can prepare for the next program.
And here's the funny part.
And we consider our time very sacred.
And here's the funny part. Not only did we say that, they weren't listening. So we didn't eat with everyone else. We said to our team, guys, can you get us 2 plates of food?
We were literally in hiding in the yoga shala, away from the whole crowd.
Can you get us 2 plates of food in the yoga shala and we'll eat there? And this lady found us in the yoga shala and she comes right into us.
She walks right into our space and says, oh my God, Eldora and Siman, there's like 140 people and it's energetically a lot for us to handle people's energy.
In our lunch break.
So she comes up to us and says, I absolutely must have at least a few minutes to talk to you.
I have a question.
I've been aching. I need some one-on-one coaching. I really look forward to your advice and I respect you guys so much. She was being very respectful but abusive of our boundaries while being completely unconscious of it.
And
so we didn't hold that against her. We were very kind and respectful, and we said, honestly, this is the only time we have time for a meal. After this, we have to literally start preparing for our next program, and we would really appreciate that some distance. And we don't do one-on-one coaching in these festivals. It's energetically too much. So she said, okay, fine, I'll let you, she said in a jovial way, I'll let you enjoy your lunch, but tomorrow we must talk. And when somebody imposes their boundaries on us, then we also become very clear. We become even more clear. Okay, maybe you don't understand the nice way of saying it, so we'll have to say it more clearly. So we said, you know what, honestly, we're not available for this. We have a lot on our plate. Thank you. Have a nice day.
And we're not doing any one-on-one.
She lost it on us. She said, you people are evil. You people, this is not what you teach, and this and that. And it blew up into a whole fiasco. So this happens all the time. And the psychological profile of such people we see is that they're projecting their insecurity on us, and they're coming to be recognized by us. And when we don't recognize them, they literally, it shatters their illusion.
Them because their ego. Oh, another thing that's coming to me right now. Always remember to ask yourself this. Your ego guys, teaching about the ego is what we're really good at. And right now, just so you know, we're downloading a very premium leadership and business and spiritual all combined curriculum of a very, very high level program where we're literally going to create containers for small batches of people to walk you through the most difficult parts of your ego harmonization. This is not going to be a junior low level container. This is a very signature premium container that we're launching in 2026 and 27. This is going to be major ego harmonization. And at the end of that container, like let's say it's a 12-month teaching with us, every month, like we go through all your lessons. At the end of it, there'll be a premium retreat, a leadership retreat where you come and you spend 5 days with us or 4 days with us, because when you're around us is when you can get the codes. Last week, we took 2 of our team members, Starla and Tigris, to Bacalar, and the conversations we're having with them are literally activating more of their spirit in their body. When we look at light workers, what we're seeing is either your spirit's not in your body and you're not like fully activated, or your intelligence is not turned on, or your presence of mind, your gratitude. There's like such a big curriculum. We gave them all these teachings, and I kid you not, we came back to work. They are all of a sudden feeling more in their heart, more activated, more. All we need to do is align them. So when you're physically in our presence, the kind of downloads and activations and things you observe and the kind of codes you get, we cannot teach you on YouTube. But so yeah, this power thing. Oh, okay. And I'm going to end with this other thing. We're not going to.
I have to give one more example.
Okay, fine. Then the other one I'll do in the next video. Because we're at 1 hour, 15 minutes.
It's fine. We'll go quickly.
It's fine.
But
we can go.
The one message I was getting from the guides to target a certain segment of the population, and you guys are going to have a breakthrough when I say this. The ones who are holding yourself in isolation. I'm talking to you now. Okay?
Oopsies.
So the other extreme that light workers take when we face so much separation and disagreement in the collective is the only safe space we find is isolation in our own homes, in the solace of our self. And we are disconnected from friends. Many people are single, not able to find a partner. Many people have had fallouts with their family and don't even talk to their parents or loved ones. And the whole world is falling into isolation. But isolation is becoming your comfort zone. Many people are asking, what do we do about this isolation? Like, how do we meet people? How do we find someone meaningful to date? How do we expand our consciousness and learn how to love again? How do we learn how to grow in relationships? By going out, by literally doing the most difficult thing for your soul. You think isolation is helping you evolve and become higher consciousness. It's not. It's becoming your trap.
Yes.
And I say that with all my heart, with all my love. Your isolation is becoming your soul's trap, because in this lifetime we were meant to be in the thick and thin. We were meant to be in the trenches. We were not meant to be on a lonely island where we're just insulated from the world's events.
We're meant to learn from each other.
We're meant to be in the thick of the
Yes.
commotion. We're meant to get messy in relationships. We're meant to have, even go on a date, even if it doesn't resonate 100%, you might learn something new about yourself. You're meant to have friendships, even though they might result in a heartbreak. You're meant to go out and take chances and create that business that, even though you feel you might lose it all, but you're meant to take risks. You're meant to put your heart out. You're meant to wear your feelings on your sleeve and be authentic and share your true essence with others. That is the only way we grow.
Yes, and I'll give you the other part of it. This also means getting out of your comfort zone. Also means if you've been a Reiki teacher, a Reiki master for 20 years, don't let that become your ego. You know how many Reiki masters think that that's the end of the world, and they don't realize Reiki is very junior. In the field of things, many people have this ego, like we're Reiki masters, and that becomes their whole ego. I know healers that have been healing. All they do is heal. They're not married, so they're single. They think they're flying, but they don't even have a dating life. All they're doing is healing, and that becomes their ego, because they feel so good being others' saviors that they don't realize they're stagnating and everyone else is shooting past them.
Right, I think you're talking about healers who isolate themselves, and their comfort zone is becoming their clients, right? Because they only know how to do that one thing.
Correct. Not only that, what else could be your comfort zone? I see so many people reach this gap. We're into spirituality, but there's nothing to learn. Hello, there's a whole curriculum to
There's
learn.
a shitload of
Guys,
to learn. You haven't even begun the
haven't even
ABCs of
begun.
the ego curriculum.
You haven't even begun the ABCs of even manifestation, healing, quantum healing, empowerment. There's so much. There's ego, there's your emotional body, there's your spiritual body, there's merging with your higher self. The most important thing is connecting with your higher guides. We actually have a golden crown activation that we do where we literally calibrate your higher chakras, your crown chakra. We open it up and we calibrate it, we heal it, we repair the crystals in it so that you can connect easier with higher guidance. And how does that happen? As you calibrate these higher chakras, it literally feels like you're walking through life and there's a higher intelligence guiding you, and it just leaves you speechless with how brilliant it is. It gives you the most easy solutions to the most complex problems. And I'll tell you why this is becoming a trap. Most people feel like I'm spiritual, but when I look at them, I'm like, you're not spiritual at all. I don't say it, I don't judge it, but as a spiritual teacher, I think it. Most people think we are so spiritual. What if I told you we're not even in kindergarten yet?
And by being spiritual, we literally mean people who take self-accountability and people who approach life through the lens of love. That's all that being spiritual means. We don't mean that you have to do ohms and do yoga every
I
day.
don't mean just that. I mean also furthering their spirituality.
Yeah,
like a lot
there's
of
a lot to
people
learn.
get stuck in this phase that I'm spiritual, but what is their definition of spiritual? What is their definition? It's very shaky. There's no foundation. They're still having so much trauma. They're still not able to activate their guidance. They're still in their head. Their heart is closed. Opening your heart, activating your heart. This is the curriculum. We see people, and recently I was telling someone this, and I'll leave you with this final tip. I was telling someone this. You can chase success all you want. You can chase money all you want. You can chase the life of your dreams, your billionaire lifestyle, whatever tickles your fancy. You can chase that all you want. But remember that if you haven't done your shadow work, if you haven't done all this curriculum now, you will feel hollow and empty when you get there. And then you'll feel like, what did I strive to get all of this for? I have everything. I've made my money. I've manifested this, house with a picket fence, but I'm miserable inside. And that's where we see more of humanity. People have made it big, but their hearts are closed. They're spiritual teachers. They can teach about the law of attraction, but they're overweight. They're aging. They look very like puffy-eyed. They're like, you look around at the spiritual teachers and you feel like shit. So why am I saying this? You and I, and all of us who have come in the new wave, we need to hold ourselves accountable to go higher because Earth needs it. Guys, Earth needs it. All the spiritual teachers that have come like before us, many of them, not all, they are stuck in their own trauma. When you look at these spiritual teachers, they have over 1 million following, but they are deeply traumatized. Who is living their 5D heaven on earth timeline? Who is living their true joy and love with their soulmate, fully open in their heart, fully in a divine relationship, living the life of their dreams? Who? I don't know anyone. So my point is, humanity has settled. It's reached a glass ceiling. And right now we have to go past that. It's becoming crucial. It's becoming imperative. It's like literally, what I would love for you guys to do is comment in wherever you're watching, Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. Comment with some of the ego-related questions you have. Keep the ego questions very potent so that in future videos we can talk about this, because there's a huge... Let us know what trap you're falling under. Like, what is the biggest trap? What is the biggest... Like, for example, recently someone was telling us about how, there's a big war and... Okay, this is a true story. Okay, this is very important. Actually, they're saying slow down and tell people this and then we'll end. As you go about life, you're going to find a lot of your friends give you completely different information. Like, I don't know if you know this, but the earth is really, really going crazy, and you're like,
We're on
really?
the brink of World War III.
We're on the brink of war, and you don't understand. There's this one treaty that has been signed. I have seen it with my own eyes, and this is really going to end destruction. And what happened in Venezuela may happen all over again. And you're like, what? What language are you speaking? Because you're connected to your heart, and all of this is sounding like complete bullshit garbage, because it is. How do you know?
3D fear narrative.
No, hold on. How do you not fall for their bullshit? How do you know? How do you not get sucked into? Because they're very convincing. They're like, you haven't heard? Oh my God, look at all these videos. Look. everything is going to go doomsday, everything is really bad, life is miserable. More people are going to have these conversations with you. Your spirituality is what's going to get you out of this. We have so much peace in our hearts that we are, as light workers, are so protected, so guided, so like there's a higher force guiding us that we don't fall into fear. But you need to remember, when people are doing this, is going to happen more and more and more in your life. Your family, your friends, they'll all bombard you with polarity, like crazy fear. How are you going to navigate? By activating your higher channels. And for that, there's no better way than to come into the New Earth Mystery School, you guys. I'm honestly telling you, for those of you who've not yet come in, this is a great chance. New Earth Mystery School is www.nems.love, nems.love/nems. We literally have an event every month, and everything we do is geared around ascension. We teach you how to merge with your higher self. We give you a chakra by chakra connection with your higher self, where we attune you to the frequency of your higher self so that you can embody your higher self easier. We teach you how to connect with your guides, and then we give you a golden crown activation. We teach you what else? Like how the emotional body works, what are the traps, how the mental body works, how to calm your mind, how to be able to calm your mind so that you don't have distortion, and you can clearly hear this voice that's guiding you. This voice, literally, it's like a voice. It's guiding you. It's this feeling that's guiding you at the most micro level. Every one of you has access to this, and our students are flying. So don't let yourself get held back because of your ego traps. Comment and let us know what breakthroughs you had with this video. I would love to read it. Tomorrow or day after, Simana and I are going to have our green juice and read all your comments. So let us know what traps you are falling under, how this video helped you. And we would like that, because then we know that you guys love this and we give you more of it. We love you guys so incredibly much. For those of you who want to sign into Metatronic Healers Academy, don't forget, we have, I think, 2 or 3 spots left that get $555 off. 2025 is sold out. This is for 2026 January, Metatronic Healers Academy. What is the website? www.nems.love/Healers Academy. NEMS is NEMS.love/Healers Academy. I love you guys with all my heart.
I love you guys too.
Take care,
and it
you
was
guys.
Such a powerful conversation today. I feel like so many aha moments and light bulbs went off, and we're going to have to sit with this and really integrate. And the last piece of advice I would like to share with you is, don't just take this message and forget about it. Integrate it and allow yourself to change your patterns and get out of your comfort zone. That's the only way we move out. That's the only way we spiritually evolve. Take these teachings, take what resonates, discard the rest, but do make changes when something resonates. Change your patterns and get out of your comfort zone.
And if any of you watching were about to fall off some major opportunity of your ascension, fall off a spiritual community, fall off because you've fallen into one of these traps, it is never too late to just put your ego in place and say, hey, let me deal with the situation. That was me and my ego. Nope. I'm coming back. I am aligning back. I am aligning back as an ascension student with humility.
And we
with
will
gratitude.
always welcome you with open arms
Yes.
and unconditional love.
I love you guys so much.
Take care, everyone.
Bye, everybody.